Nick, buddy,
What up?
how you doing, man?
Not too bad yourself,
I'm
man.
good.
Sounds
How are
great.
you? Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you. I'm out in
yeah.
the woods. I'm out in the woods in Ontario here, so I'm not sure how is the connection okay?
Once I joined, it got a little bit grainy, but I'm sure that it'll kind of catch up here in a second. Whoa, sorry about the dangly here.
How dare you?
I know.
So where are
Actually,
you, man? You in Nashville?
yeah, I'm in Nashville. I'm home. Um, I'm in my studio workspace of the house here. So this is kind of where I quarantine, whether we're in quarantine or not. So
That's
kind of
your
is
that's your
cool.
den. That's where you're hanging.
Yeah. Well, this is I have like a lower area, and just these like pinnacle aha moments that they had as a musician. Oftentimes there's a theme of them saying, you know what, I went down to the record store and I either like bought what I really needed or I had no idea and I got, guided into getting this thing and I put it in my backpack and I rode my bike home and I went home and I told my folks, like, just leave me alone for an hour. And I went in my room and I turned off all the lights. I put my headphones on, laid down on the floor, closed my eyes, and just spaced out to, I don't know, Joe Walsh or whoever it is these people speak about. And I don't know that that's happening these days to where people are, going home saying, I'm not going to do anything. Hold on. They're putting their like, earbuds in, laying on the floor, and then listening to just like one song at a time, or it's like listening to an album in its entirety, which is okay. But, in a way, it's just
But
like
I think that more like
keeping a
more
little bit of that
so.
tradition.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was gonna say I think more so than 5 years ago, people are really immersing themselves in full albums again. I think that you know
Right.
similar to how grunge came out of the pop of the late 80s, I think that we're in a space, especially with individually distributed records, where people realize that they can go find the sounds that they like, and if they're not on the radio, there's so many other sources of finding them these days that you can pretty much
Yeah.
get lost in whatever you're looking for. Did you get tagged in that Facebook thing where it's like post 10 albums that you grew up on that were like pinnacle to you?
I did. And if there's one thing that I've been absolutely horrible about in this whole thing is seeing those, telling myself that I'm going to get to it. And when I go back to do something about it, it's gone and I can't like yeah, I'm trying to be more disciplined at my participant in the tech. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's a ton of commitment, though. It's like 10 albums, and I realized halfway that like there's actually some pretty cringy albums on there. You know what I mean? It's like stuff that I wouldn't
Yeah,
necessarily publicize anymore that I was like totally head over heels for, you know?
like Green Day
Insane.
or what are we talking here?
No, Green Day was great. Honestly, I started on drums too, but I think there was like a Creed album in there that I really liked at some point. Like I'm not even kidding. The drum sounds were
Oh, yeah.
badass, and I was like, you know what? Because of that album, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna
Hey,
try to play some drums. Like that was sick. Big
I
drum
remember
sounds on those albums.
your record. Yeah, I remember we were making your record. You're like, I really want my drums to sound like Creed drums, and we spent a lot of time dialing that in.
For the record, that never happened ever. There was no speaking of
Never.
Creed in the making of my album. But yeah, we should say I didn't even say when I was making
No.
my album. I'm gonna do a little plug here. When I was making my album, Arrow's coming out tomorrow. Nick actually played bass on the album. He's a jack of all trades session guy, and yeah, we did it over at Studio Punch Up with Andy Freeman, and I guess that's how we were introduced. But Nick, you got any favorite
This is
records
true.
that you want to maybe give someone some tips or are these random finds
I
that
do. It's, yeah. When you were asking me about this, I was like, man, I don't even know where to start. But I had a couple ideas, and one of them is actually in the theme with what we were talking about a minute ago about how you can, when you see a large collection of vinyl, you just want to kind of pull out what you already know. And there's a really good example that I like to use for people, and it's this record right here. It's a guy by the name of Dobie Gray, right? Now, a lot of folks know him as it's like, I don't know, not even Doobie Gray. It's the Doobie Brothers or somebody else. But this guy, he had several records out, and you can't find them on Instagram, Spotify. I'm 99% sure they're not on Apple Music or iTunes, any of that stuff. And then most of the really good stuff is actually not even on YouTube to try to pull up. At best, maybe some call it that, where he had one microphone. And he would take the microphone and put it in front of a metronome and then create his own click track. And then go back to the beginning and play piano to his new click track. Then he'd go back to the beginning and play drums to the piano because the piano's in time. And he was just ping-ponging stuff on a 4-track, just moving the same microphone to different instruments. And then he'd like mow lawns and rake leaves and wash cars and save up money to go into a big studio. And he'd take a 4-track in and put it on an 8-track. And that's when he would layer background vocals. And, you know, he had this whole mindset of, I hear, I don't know, a violin on this track. Well, he doesn't know how to play a violin, so he would just get one, teach himself how to play it until he got the part that he heard in his head, and then just add that to the list of things that he could play. Almost like Prince, you know, but like just decades before anybody was even being revered for being a multi-instrumentalist like this.
Wow.
Then he goes into, he's got like a complete record, and he goes into ABC Dunhill and basically kind of like demands a record deal out of them. And they're like, well, that's not really how this works, man. Like, we need to get you a band. We need to get you to write some songs. We got to get you in the studio. And he's like, I've already done all that. And they're like, yeah, but, you know, we know that you weren't in a very good city. It's like, no, it's ready to go. I just need you to release it and put it out there. And so the head guy like listens to his demo tapes and is like, I don't know what the hell you did or where you did this, but yeah, go ahead and let's do this. And he put out, cool. I think 2 or 3 solo records. They sound like the Beatles. After this is done, I'll send you some links to some choices. There's a couple songs. One of them's called Really Wanted You. Another one's called Somebody's Made for Me. And another one that sounds very Beatlesy is called Birthday Lady. And I've played these tunes to people, and they've been like, holy shit, I feel like I just stumbled upon a long-lost Beatles record that I didn't know about. So he's got, like I said, this self-titled one, and then he's got another one that's great that's called Mirror. And what's sad about it is he got kind of screwed over in a publishing deal, and his career only lasted a couple years. He got really disenfranchised with it, said screw this, and then just like completely walked away from the music industry and didn't really release any other commercially recorded music for several decades after that.
Wow. That's the age-old story, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what they say. Yeah. Anyway, Nick, I gotta stop you there because I still got another guy to bring on here. But
sounds good, man.
Thanks so much for coming on. And when they let me back in the country, I gotta come hang and hear some of the stuff that you're talking about. Make sure, definitely send me those links.
I will. Yeah.
You there?
You're gonna dig it.
And
thank you for having me on, man.
Yeah, for those. For sure. All right. You're kind of cracky. I'm gonna say bye. I'm gonna get rid of you here.
All right, buddy. See ya. Take it easy.
Take care.